नमस्ते भारत।
सलाम यूएई।
भावी पीढ़ी के निर्माण और भविष्य के बौद्धिक राह को मजबूत बनाने हेतु बहुत जरूरी हो जाता है कि आपस में बैठकर बात करें। बातचीत, चर्चा तब उपयोगी होती है जब उसे संवाद का स्वरूप प्रदान कर दिया जाए। इसी संवाद की बुनियाद को मजबूत करने एक और नए विषय और नए मेहमान के साथ हम उपस्थित हैं। आए अमोघ।
And I, Sampatti, will be hosting this informative fifth episode of Pious Talk. Whenever there is a challenge, there is also an opportunity to face it, to demonstrate, and to develop our will and determination. With these words from the Dalai Lama, let us begin this fifth episode of Pious Talk.
We have with us today retired Air Marshal Shri Gurcharan Singh Bedi ji, Ati Vishisht Seva Medal, Vayu Sena Medal, and Vishisht Seva Medal.
Dear Sir, we welcome you. We also welcome the stalwart of our school administration, Bharati Vidya Bhavan Middle East, our respected Vice Principal, Mrs. Padmaja Menon.
इसी के साथ ही हमारे साथ जुड़े हमारे ऑनलाइन दर्शक जो इस कार्यक्रम का सीधा प्रसारण देख रहे हैं और जो बाद में देखेंगे, उन सभी का हम स्वागत करते हैं।
Welcome to Pious Talk February 2023.
हमारे साथ आज के इस कार्यक्रम में श्री गुरुचरण सिंह बेदी जी उपस्थित हैं। हमने किस्सों, कहानियों और फिल्मों के माध्यम से बहुत से जाबाज वायुसेना के करतब दिखाने वाले वायुयान और उनके प्रमुखों को देखा है, लेकिन आज हमारे साथ एयर मार्शल श्री गुरुचरण सिंह बेदी जी उपस्थित हैं, जिन्होंने सतत 38 वर्ष भारतीय वायुसेना को अपनी सेवा दी है और देश की सुरक्षा में महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाई है। सर, आपके पास मिग 21 और मिराज 2000 जैसे लड़ाकू विमानों सहित 3700 के अधिक घंटों से सुरक्षित उड़ान है। सर, आपका अधिक परिचय कुछ इस तरह है।
The Air Marshal was commissioned as a fighter pilot in June 1984. He has over 3,700 hours of accident-free flying on MiG-21 and Mirage 2000 aircraft. He was awarded the Vayu Sena Medal, Gallantry, in the Kargil conflict. He is a graduate of the Defense Services Staff College, Wellington, and an alumni of the National Defense College, New Delhi. He has commanded a fighter squadron and a frontline fighter base. He has served in many prestigious appointments, like the Air Advisor at the High Commission of India, London, Air Office Commanding, Jammu and Kashmir, Assistant Chief of the Air Staff Operations, Offensive and Personnel Officers. He was the Senior Air Staff Officer of 2 operational commands and the Director General, Inspection and Safety at Air Headquarters, from where he retired on 30th April 2022. In the recognition of his distinguished service, he was awarded the Ati Vishisht Seva Medal and Vishisht Seva Medal.
महोदय, आपके परिचय के साथ ही हम आपका पुनः स्वागत करते हैं और आमंत्रित करते हैं हमारे आज के पायस टॉक के 5वें संस्करण के विद्यार्थी डेलीगेट्स को।
Our student delegates are HETVI, KEERTANA, AARUSH and NIRMITA from grade 8. We welcome our delegates on the Spice Talk Show.
And the topic for this session is Indian Air Force, Opportunities and Challenges.
अतिथि, कार्यक्रम अध्यक्ष, विद्यार्थी साथी और विषय आपके बीच है। तो आइए बिना किसी अन्य भूमिका के सीधे कार्यक्रम की शुरुआत करते हैं। साथ ही हमारे दर्शकों से भी अनुरोध है कि आप अपने प्रश्नों के साथ इस विषय से जुड़ने के लिए तैयार हो जाएं।
Sir, with your permission, shall we begin?
Yes, I'm back. Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes,
With your permission, shall we begin?
yes, please. Yes, please. Sorry about this.
धन्यवाद सर। भारतीय वायुसेना का भारत की सुरक्षा और भारत के गौरव को बढ़ाने में बहुत महत्वपूर्ण योगदान है। इसके सम्मुख समय के अनुसार भिन्न प्रकार की चुनौतियां भी निर्माण होती रही है, जिन चुनौतियों का भारतीय वायुसेना ने डट कर सामना किया है।
आप इस सेना के बहुत महत्वपूर्ण पद पर रहे हैं, अतः आपके साथ बातचीत कर हम सभी अपनी जानकारी में वृद्धि करेंगे और मन में उठने वाली आशंकाओं को दूर भी करेंगे। अतः पहले सवाल हेतु सादर आमंत्रित है हेतवी।
नमस्ते सर, मेरा नाम हेतवी है और मेरा आपसे पहला प्रश्न है, क्यों युवा पीढ़ी को वायुसेना में भर्ती होकर प्रशिक्षण लेने के लिए आकर्षित करना वायुसेना के लिए एक चुनौती बन चुका है?
Thank you very much. First of all, let me thank Mr. Ravi Shukla and the whole staff for giving me this opportunity to be here and to talk to you. Thank you very much for the kind introduction, and I'm sorry for the little interruption. It's just that I'm not sitting in Middle East. We have our little problems still here of a little bit of power issue, but notwithstanding. May I take this opportunity to, before I answer this question, to say that when I appeared on the scene and I saw these young people, I'm very much impressed by your demeanor, by your etiquettes, by your expression, and the way you have conducted yourself so far. My compliments to Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, the entire team, and all the students. While you have said that why are you excited or why are you looking forward to listening to me, I would just take a second to tell you that why was I looking forward to it. All of us are very curious to know the future. One is considered a wise man. People contact astrologers. People go to all lengths just to find out what lies in the future. Only if I could read my future. Then I learned that more important than knowing the future, because that may be possible, may not be possible, wise people say that it is more important to shape the future. And people say that you can shape your future, you can make your future whatever you want it to be. Now, how do I shape my future? I have a lot of experience with me, which is the past, which I feel, how do I bring this experience into the future? And I realize that only way to shape the future is to speak or to share your ideas with the future generation. I have always been very keen and very inquisitive to speak to young children who are the future of the nation. I have been in training establishments, a flying instructor and a chief flying instructor and various other places where I took keen interest not only to speak to the students there or to the course officers there, but also address the children as a station commander of one of the fighter bases. It used to be my very favorite and fond hobby to go to the school in our station and address children. And I feel that if you have to sow an idea for the future, then you have to speak to the young mind, shape their minds, and put your experience in their minds so that they can bring up a fine future. So that is why I'm so excited. And I'm sure that after we leave this meeting, both of us, both when we say you all and I together, will be a little wiser than when we entered this meeting. If that happens, then we would have served, this meeting would have served its purpose, and we would have achieved something useful. Thank you very much once again. To come to the question directly, that to attract young minds, has it become challenge for the Air Force? I would say that Air Force or armed forces is a challenging field. Not only today, and not only for the armed forces. I think it's a universal phenomenon that to attract young and bright minds is a challenge for any organization, because Organization on the face of it probably cannot really put across, especially in armed forces, that what lies in it, because most of it remains in the realms of confidentiality. And from the outside, there are many ideas or many ways or many perceptions that people make about it themselves. Then what happens is, today with the technology growing, people have different ideas of a career. Some people equate career with the amount of money you make, probably, or the ease of life that you have. But what you need to know is that anybody who enters the service or who has joined the forces has not regretted. You will not find many people disgruntled or who repent that why did I join this profession. So while initially it does become a challenge, and I would say that is for any organization, not only for Air Force per se, but we are taking steps. There are a whole lot of programs that Air Force's one field or one segment or one branch called Disha, okay, has introduced, where we are much more open to public, or much more open to young minds as to what lies in the Air Force. Just to give you an example, okay, when I started my career, I started my training in January 83. Okay, so if you count the training period, then it's almost 40 years that I've been in the Air Force. The first time in my career when I came face to face or I talked to an Air Marshal was much later in my stage. Today, people who want to join the Air Force are connected with me on LinkedIn. They are already talking to Air Marshals. That is the distance we have covered from that time to this time. So while we are open on any aspect, what lies in the Air Force, what Air Force has to offer you, people are more interested. People do come forward. Take the case of the number of people apply for the Air Force jobs and the number of people who are selected. Now, that is not to say is by any means is a yardstick that only very bright people are applying, but Air Force has set a standard for itself. That standard is not diluted. When Air Force sets a standard and we find many people above that standard who come and apply for the Air Force, that I think Air Force's purpose is served. There are other fields also where we need young and bright mind. Air Force is just one of them. So I would like to say that while it may appear that it is little challenging, and it is, otherwise we would have to work. You know, Air Force would not need to advertise itself if it was not really a challenge. So it is a challenge, but not a very hard challenge, I would say. It is a surmountable challenge with which we are able to express ourselves and tell people what is in store for them. And a lot of people are enthusiastic about it, to see what lies in the Air Force for them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving on, we would like to invite AARUSH for the next question.
नमस्ते महोदय, मेरा नाम आरुष सुनील कुमार है। आपसे मेरा सवाल यह है कि आपके अनुसार भारतीय वायुसेना के लिए वर्तमान और भविष्य की चुनौतियां क्या-क्या है? क्या भारतीय वायुसेना का आधुनिकीकरण से इन चुनौतियों का कोई समाधान होगा?
थैंक यू आरुष, धन्यवाद क्वेश्चन के लिए। जो टेक्नोलॉजी है वो बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है। एयर फोर्स जो है टेक्नोलॉजिकली बहुत एडवांस्ड रही है। एयर फोर्स जो है एक एविएशन का हिस्सा है प्राइमरीली। अब आपको ज्ञान होगा कि सबसे पहला जो एयरक्राफ्ट, जो एरोप्लेन राइट ब्रदर्स ने उड़ाया 1903 में उड़ाया, एंड अभी हम 2023 में हैं। 100 साल के अंदर, और लगभग 100 साल के अंदर जितनी तरक्की और जितनी एडवांसमेंट एविएशन में आई है या एयरफोर्स में, एविएशन से एयरफोर्स में आई है, उतनी किसी और फील्ड में नहीं आई है। तो टेक्नोलॉजी तो ड्राइविंग फोर्स रहेगी। जो चुनौतियां हैं एयरफोर्स के लिए वो है अपने आप को एब्रेस्ट रखने की। तो उसका मतलब ये है कि देखिए एयरफोर्स बहुत एक्सपेंसिव है। एक आपने पढ़ा होगा अखबारों में कि एक एक जो जहाज है राफेल का, तकरीबन सब कुछ मिला के किया जाए तो 1000 करोड़ 1500 करोड़, अब कहने की बात है, बहुत पैसे होते हैं 1500 करोड़ रुपए एक जहाज के लिए, और हमारे पास बहुत से जहाज चाहिए। आपने सुना होगा चीफ को कि हमारे पास 42 स्क्वाड्रन चाहिए, हर एक स्क्वाड्रन में लगभग 18 प्लेन होते हैं। तो अगर 1000 हमको प्लेन चाहिए और उसके लिए हमें खर्चा करना है, और प्लेन सिर्फ अपने आप नहीं उड़ते, इनके लिए बहुत सारा और साजो सामान चाहिए। डिफेंस बजट देख लिए, अभी अभी अनाउंस हुआ है, तो कितनी बड़ी फिगर है। उसके साथ साथ ये भी होगा कि आपको ये भी पढ़ने को मिलेगा अखबारों में, मैगजीन्स में, कि डिफेंस बजट जो है और बढ़ना चाहिए, वो उतनी बढ़ोतरी नहीं हुई है वगैरह। जो सरकार है, सरकार को पूरा देश चलाना होता है, उसके हिसाब से वो जो एलोकेट करती है डिफेंस के लिए, अब उस बजट में एब्रेस्ट रहना, सबके साथ रहना एक चुनौती है। अगर मैं आपको आपकी एग्जांपल दूं, अगर आपको एब्रेस्ट रहना है दुनिया में क्या हो रहा है, तो आपको कंप्यूटर चाहिए, आपको बुक्स चाहिए, आपको मैगजीन्स की चाहिए, आपको कई किस्म की सुविधाएं चाहिए। और अगर आपका बजट सीमित है, अगर आपकी पॉकेट मनी सीमित है, अगर उसमें आपको ये सब कुछ करना है जो आपको चाहिए कि आपको लेवल प्लेइंग फील्ड दे सके सबके बारे में, तो वो एक किस्म की चुनौती रहेगी आपके लिए कि आप सब कुछ वो नहीं कर सकते जो आपको करना, और बहुत ध्यान से आपको खर्च करना पड़ेगा। एक तो इकोनॉमिक बात हो गई, दूसरी ये है कि ये जानना कि दुनिया में हो क्या रहा है। जो इनोवेशंस होती हैं, हर एक जो आपकी अगर मैं आपसे रिलेट करना चाहूँ, तो जो इनोवेशन नई आज बनती है आपकी फेसबुक पोस्ट की तरह, वो 45 मिनट में जैसे खत्म हो जाती है आपकी फेसबुक पोस्ट या इंस्टाग्राम पोस्ट, उसको बाद में देखना लोग बंद कर देते हैं, वो उतना ही टाइम होता है उसके लिए ब्रीदिंग टाइम। तो ऐसे ही जो इनोवेशन है, एक नई चीज जो आज होती है, आप देखिए, आप ड्रोन्स हैं, आप बहुत सुनते हैं ड्रोन्स के बारे में, पहले एयरक्राफ्ट बने, आजकल एक कोई ड्रोन बनाता है, उसका कोई काउंटर सिस्टम बनाता है, फिर उसको हम ड्रोन बनाते हैं, फिर उसका काउंटर सिस्टम बनाते हैं। तो ये जो कैट एंड माउस गेम है, ये बहुत ही टेक्नोलॉजिकली एडवांस हो चुकी है और हर चीज कॉस्टली है। इसीलिए आपने देखा होगा कि बहुत ज्यादा पुश है हमारे देश में आत्मनिर्भरता की, कि हम सब कुछ जो है अपने घर में बनाए, ताकि हमें इम्पोर्ट नहीं करना पड़े, ताकि हम ये जो हमारी इकोनॉमी है, जहाँ जितने पैसे हमारे पास उपलब्ध है, उससे बड़ी से बड़ी तकनीकी सुविधा जो है वो अपने घर में लेके आ सके। तो मेरे हिसाब से जो सबसे ज्यादा फ्यूचर चुनौती है एयरफोर्स के लिए, वो ये होगी कि नई टेक्नोलॉजी जो दुनिया भर में उभर रही है, उसको अपने यहाँ पे कैसे एब्जॉर्ब करें और उसको कैसे बढ़ाएं, और अपना जो होम ग्रोन टैलेंट है और उसको वो कैसे हमारी मदद करे। इसीलिए आप सब लोग जब सबसे ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट हो जाते हैं, जो यंग माइंड हैं, कि वो आगे जाके नेशन बिल्डिंग में कितना समाधान कर पाते हैं। ओवरऑल ये कहना चाहूंगा। उम्मीद है आपको जवाब मिला होगा, नहीं तो हम डिस्कस कर सकते हैं।
आरुष के इस सवाल के साथ अब आमंत्रित करते हैं निर्मिता को।
Good evening, sir. I'm Nirmita, and my question is, how does the Indian Air Force contribute to India's Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan?
Sorry, is your question how much does Indian Air Force contribute to Atmanirbhar?
Yes, sir. How does Indian Air
Okay.
Force?
Thank you very much. Okay, see, like I said, the whole central idea of being Atmanirbhar is that we do not have to import, and we have shown that our import bills have reduced, and in fact the amount of innovations or amount of technology that has started coming up in India, we are even able to export our defense stuff. How much can Indian Air Force contribute? A lot, because who can contribute in self-reliance or in self-development of technology? Ones who use technology the maximum. In all the three services, if you see, every service is important, every service has its own role. But when it comes to technology, the effect of technology is greatest on the Air Force. because it uses most technological weapons, most technological equipment. So now Indian Air Force's contribution is that our young minds, our engineers, our operational people have started interacting with the industry, with our DRDO labs a lot, a whole time, so that the industry or the DRDO, which are who have to make these what you call equipments, or who have to produce the stuff, know exactly what to do. And in that, that is what helps them to produce things which are homegrown and which lead to self-reliance. Take the case of new aircraft coming, or new missile systems coming, or new radars coming, or new unmanned vehicles coming. Industry will not know what to do unless the operator told them what exactly is required. So this interaction has increased manifold between the services and so to say Air Force and with the manufacturing industry. That I think is the biggest contribution of any service, and especially of the Air Force, in increasing our self-reliance. Does it answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Moving on, I would like to invite Keertana to ask her next question.
Good evening, sir. I'm Keertana. Myths are common in every field, and it is crucial to clear them up in order to present the real event. So, what are the common misconceptions people have about the Indian Air Force?
Misconceptions, I would say, about the Indian Air Force, or I would say, let me start from that. You will develop misconception about anything about which you don't know completely. So when you don't know completely about something, you develop misconception, and also it depends on the kind of impact something makes. Now, all of us are alluding to, or all of us would, what impacts, or only time people feel bad about something about the Air Force is when an accident takes place. All of us would know that. And you hear about it, you read it in the paper, or you see it on the television, or you come to know about it. That an Air Force plane crashes. We recently had, you must have known about a few days back, we had an unfortunate accident of two aircraft getting lost. See, what happens is, the biggest misconception that develops in people's mind is that probably a lot of accidents take place in the Air Force. Yes, accidents are not to happen. Default setting is that no accident should take place. Okay, but now as we talk, that it is a profession after all, which is training you to win a war. And winning a war, in the war, you would know there are no runners-up in war. You have a match in the school, you have a team, you have a winner team, you have runners-up, right? You have place 3, you have place 4, etc. But in war, there are no runners-up. Either you have won or you have not won. So if you have to train to that an extent, then sometimes training is very hard, and you do have these mishaps. So that is one, that understanding the Air Force's challenges and Air Force's job. Now, I am not equating it with road accidents. I am not at all trying simply that, see, there are more road accidents happening than probably the aircraft accidents. That is not a justification to have an accident, because there are accidents happening on the road. So that's no reason to have accidents in the air, right? But you would see that by and large, aviation is safe. You take a civil aviation, nothing much happens in civil aviation, because civil aviation is not training to fight war. Civil aviation is trying to transport passengers from place A to place B safely, and it's very far and very rare that something wrong happens. After all, it is machine. But in the Air Force, it happens a little more often than it happens in civil aviation, and that is because, like I said, we are training to fight. We are training to defend the country and win a war for itself. Another misconception is, like, a lot of misconception went around about MiG-21s, that MiG-21s are not fly-worthy aircraft, etc., just because the aircraft is old. Now, aircraft old does not mean that aircraft completely is not flyworthy or technology. A model can be very old. I mean, I don't know if you see Rolls-Royce model, when did it start? Or BMW, when did it start? Nobody says it's a 1960 vintage model, because there are upgrades happening. Even the MiG-21 that we have today, few squadrons are left. They are Bison. They are equally good. And you must have heard of it that in Balakot, it is one of our Bisons who shot down an F-16. So advancements, technology is there. Yes, you would need to replace them, not because they are not flyworthy, no, because a question may arise, then why are we getting rid of them? Why are we phasing out MiG-21 squadrons and getting new? No, it is not that they are not flyworthy. We need more advanced aircraft just to meet the challenges that we talked about, that there are challenges for the Air Force. We have to fight modern air forces. We have to fight advanced air forces. So we need more modern or more capable aircraft. That does not mean that aircraft is not safe. The biggest misconception about Air Force is this, in the civil or in the people who are not knowledgeable, that probably Air Force ends up flying non-flying worthy aircraft. It does not happen. I have huge amount of hours on MiG-21. All of us started flying on MiG-21 and then graduated onto Mirage 2000 or the two main aircraft that I flew. Each and every aircraft that gets into the air is certified by a huge lot of professionals to say that each and every aspect has been seen. Having said that, there are huge number of things in the aircraft, the circumstances, everything cannot be anticipated. Everything cannot be, probably perceived. So things go wrong along the way, where confluence of circumstances or confluence of things happen where the outcome is not as desired. So unfortunately, an accident takes place. But people should rest assured that it is most painful to the Air Force to have an accident rather than anything else. Yes, no equation to the families who lose their near and dear ones, but we in the Air Force are a family bigger than individual family. We have our own comrades, my own friends in the Air Force. So it is very hard to see someone going or someone's life getting lost. So continuous efforts are on. If you, from where I retired, my last appointment was DG INS, what we call Director General Inspection and Safety. Why I'm a little passionate about answering this question, because my main role was this, to ensure safety in the Air Force, and the amount of details that we go into in ensuring that flying operations remain safe is not even funny, but it is complicated. Okay, so all people, I would say that people have to remove this misconception from their mind that Air Force is not doing enough to safeguard its assets, its taxpayers' money. It is hard-earned money, and this equipment is required for us to win a war tomorrow, for which we are all trained and for which we joined the Air Force. So I think that is the biggest misconception. Rest are very small. That too, some people think life in Air Force is very hard, etc., etc. Maybe we will talk about it along the way when we come along. Thank you.
हमारे साथ जुड़े हमारे ऑनलाइन दर्शक भी इस कार्यक्रम का हिस्सा बन सकते हैं और आपके सवाल कमेंट के माध्यम से पूछ सकते हैं।
आइए अगले सवाल को आंसर करते हैं हेटवी सर।
सर, 2002 में स्क्वाड्रनों की संख्या जो अब घट गई है, जो एक और समस्या बन जाती है, जिसे वायुसेना को सामना करना पड़ सकता है। इसकी भरपाई के लिए क्या किया जा सकता है?
बहुत अहम सवाल है बच्चे आपका। देखो, बहुत हमारे जो चीफ भी आपने बार बार सुना होगा, कंसिस्टेंटली वो बोलते हैं कि हमारी जो ऑथराइज स्क्वाड्रन स्ट्रेंथ है वो 42 है। किसी जमाने में 42 से स्टार्ट हुई थी। ओवर ए पीरियड ऑफ टाइम स्क्वाड्रन स्ट्रेंथ कम होती गई और आजकल में बोला जाता है कि 30 है। पर एक चीज का थोड़ा ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा कि जो 42 स्क्वाड्रन स्ट्रेंथ थी, समय में एक तरह के एयरक्राफ्ट थे उसमें, बट अब एक और तरह के एयरक्राफ्ट है। सो अगर ओवरऑल फाइटिंग पोटेंशियल की बात की जाए तो वो ऐसे नहीं है कि हम अपने एडवर्सरी का सामना नहीं कर सकते हैं। पर लाइक इट इज सेड किसी जनरल ने कहा है, रशियन जनरल ने, कि क्वांटिटी हैज इट्स ओन क्वालिटी, कि जब क्वालिटी और क्वांटिटी के बीच में डिबेट थी तो उन्होंने कहा था कि क्वांटिटी हैज इट्स ओन क्वालिटी, क्वांटिटी को नजरअंदाज नहीं किया जा सकता, क्योंकि जितने एयरक्राफ्ट हम उड़ा सकते हैं एयर में और मिक्स कैपेबिलिटी के साथ, उतना ही बेहतर है। बट एट द सेम टाइम इसमें ये लगातार जो हमारा प्रयास है, वो प्रयत्न जारी है कि हम जो है अपनी स्क्वाड्रन स्ट्रेंथ को इम्प्रूव करें। गवर्नमेंट के साथ बात होती रहती है, पर जैसे मैंने बताया कि ओवरऑल इकोनॉमिक मूवमेंट के साथ, इकोनॉमिक प्रोग्रेस के साथ, जैसे कि गवर्नमेंट का एम है कि एक इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ होनी चाहिए। एक ही अगर एक ही साइड और एक ही सेक्शन बहुत तरक्की कर ले और दूसरा सेक्शन तरक्की नहीं करे, तो वो ठीक नहीं रहता है। एंड लाइक मेरे को थोड़ा पता आता है नॉर्मल एग्जांपल देने में कि इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ का क्या मतलब है। आप सब स्टूडेंट्स हैं, आपने देखा होगा कि जब अब आप दो नंबर्स को जब मल्टीप्लाई करते हैं तो उनकी प्रोडक्ट अगर उनका जोड़, उनका एडिशन सेम रखें, तो उनकी प्रोडक्ट हमेशा मैक्सिमम होगी अगर दोनों नंबर इक्वल होंगे। फॉर एग्जांपल 10 into 10 if I say is 100, and if the total of these two digits have to remain 20, then you will find that the product will be maximum when these two numbers are equal, that is 10 into 10. Now you start making it 11 9, 12 8, 13 7, or 11 9. You keep increasing one digit and keep reducing the other one, your product will continue to drop. Even though your total will remain same, coming 19 into 1 will be 19, very low, as compared 10 into 10, 100, whereas the total of 10 and 10 and 19 and 1 is 20 only. So this is what is implied by inclusive growth, that everybody or all your systems or the whole country has to move up together. तो उसके लिए मेरे हिसाब से प्रयत्न जारी है और आश्वासन दिया जाता है एयरफोर्स को कि कोशिश की जा रही है। पर दूसरी तरफ देखो कि अगर सपोज अगर हम आज बोले कि नहीं हमें 42 स्क्वाड्रन चाहिए, तो कहाँ से एयरक्राफ्ट इतने सारे एकदम से नहीं खरीदे जा सकते हैं, और उनको एब्जॉर्ब करना, उनको अपने सिस्टम में इंड्यूस करना और उनको इनकॉर्पोरेट करना भी एक चैलेंज होगा। बट ओवर ए पीरियड ऑफ टाइम, बिकॉज हमें ज्ञान है, इस बात का आभास है कि हमारे एडवर्सरीज क्या हैं, उनकी कैपेबिलिटी क्या है, और हम जैसे कि सरकार को हमारे लीडर्स आश्वासन देते रहते हैं कि अगर कोई ऐसी बात आती है, अगर कोई कॉन्फ्लिक्ट आता है, तो हम उसमें पीछे नहीं रहेंगे, हम उसको पूरी तरह से फेस करेंगे। उसके लिए जो भी कैपेबिलिटी बन पाती है, उसके लिए जो लगातार प्रयत्न जारी रहते हैं। आप देखेंगे आपके लाइफ टाइम में, आपके लाइफ टाइम मैंने इसे बाय द टाइम यू स्टार्ट योर करियर्स एज ग्रोन अप पीपल, you will probably read in papers that Air Force would have got its sanctioned strength of 42 squadron, right?
Thank you, sir. That was a very informative answer. Moving on, we would like to invite Arush for his next question.
Sir, the theme of last year's Indian Air Force anniversary was transforming for the future. Do you agree that there is a need to redefine, reimagine, and recalibrate to transform Indian Air Force into a future-ready force? If so, why?
Yes, there is no doubt about it. Like we said that, like they say, change is the only constant, okay? You have to continuously recalibrate yourself, okay? Everything needs to recalibrate itself. Your laptop versions change. I'm sure you are constantly telling your parents to buy you an upgraded phone, okay? Everything needs to recalibrate. Similarly, Air Force also needs to recalibrate because the challenges keep varying. If you continue to fight or continue to plan with old or with orthodox principles, then unfortunately you are not going to do very well. Those of you who are interested in military history must be following the Russia-Ukraine concept, you would find that some of the lessons that were learned in earlier wars, probably they have not paid much attention, the Russian parts especially, and it comes out, I'm quoting only open source information, not really any direct access to any war fighting. A lot of informed people write about it, okay? So what happens is recalibration is required. So Air Force is live to it that, like I said, technology is changing. You know, earlier, if you read Second World War, okay, we come back to that, that 1903, and that means balloons are always there, but balloon is lighter than air. It's filled up with a gas which is, because of buoyancy, it takes it up and it's right in the up. Heavier than air is that if you leave it just like that, it will fall on the ground. Okay, it's not like a heavy object will drown in the wood. Okay, heavier than air to sustain in the air, it needs what airplane is all about. That started in 1903, and in the First World War, already the aircraft were fighting. And Second World War, there were a huge number of them fighting. Now, if you see the number of bombs that they dropped, or you see bombing campaigns, etc., large number of weapons had to be used to defeat a target. And now you come today to a technology where you can target a one particular vehicle out of 10 vehicles moving on the road. That is the kind of precision that has come up. If you tell me that in a particular building, this is a building, and I want your bomb to go through this particular window, that is possible. Okay, so that is the amount of change which has happened. Now the decision making has reduced. Earlier, the wars moved at a particular pace. If you go very back into our mythology, then how were the wars fought? Wars were fought in the daytime. Nighttime they rested and played games together, right? You must have read in Mahabharata that daytime they used to fight, nighttime they used to call up, sit, relax, and next day again they fight. That was a pace of war. Slowly it has changed. Now what happens is, now the pace of war has become so fast that you're short on decision taking time. I have to decide so quickly. That is where technology comes in. That is why these decision tools are what we are coming into artificial intelligence. Some of you guys will be heavily investing your time in that. Okay, so you need tools to suggest you a quick solution. Okay, and if I may, just digress a little bit, just to give you an example, that why are these tools important in decision making? Because everybody, when decides, he decides on his own experiences, on his own historical baggage, on his own capability to take risk, on his personal kind of personality. But whereas mathematically that may not be true, okay? Because how the mind decides is very different. It decides conveniently. It does not decide on the pure logical way. If somebody says that you are sitting in a, let's say, coffee in cyber cafe somewhere, or any cafe, and you lay a bet to two students of you. You say, okay, let's toss a coin. Heads, you give me a cup of coffee. Tails, I give you a cup of coffee. Will you take that bet? Probably yes. You will say, yes, okay, let's take that bet. But now tomorrow, let's say if you were sitting with Ambani's son and he told you, okay, let's toss a coin. Heads, you give me 10 crore rupees. Tails, I will give 10 crore rupees. Will you take that bet? You will not take that bet. Whereas mathematically, your chances of winning and losing were exactly the same as it was for a cup of coffee, as it is for 10 crores. But one you are able to take, the other you will not be able to take. Okay, because this is your capability on which your mind quickly decides that what is worth it, what is not worth it. The fun of winning 10 crores is going to be not so much as the grief of losing 10 crores. Just to cite an example that how the force decision matrix comes into being when deciding correctly. So the mind, what happens is, this was just a simple example to draw your attention to this force decision matrix. Now, in a wartime, what is going to be presented to me? Okay, when I'm planned some of the campaigns, you know what happens is in Air Force planning continues. It's a 24/7 operation. It's not only that you plan during wartime. We are always ready that if something happens tomorrow, that I have my plans already ready. So when I am sitting on a operations table, you know what I have in front of me? I have a whole lot of these computer screens in front of me. What are they telling me? They are telling me my own aircraft strength, my own weapon strength. They are telling me enemy dispositions. They are telling me what kind of weather is going to be at what time. They are going to be what is the status of our air defense weapons, what is the status of enemy air defense weapons, what are the other factors, etc., etc. So is it possible for me to quickly absorb these 100, 200 parameters and arrive at a decision that, okay, this is what I should be doing? I will do it if required to, but it may not be very optimum decision. That is where technology comes in. That is where the what we were talking of recalibration, that with this artificial intelligence, with all these things, it is important, future ready. When you started with that Air Force needs to be future ready, it is essentially, I think, most of the wars will be won or lost, I would say, totally based on this. But your decision making will be one of the most important factors in winning or losing the war, apart from your capability. That is why there is a talk that we continuously need to be future ready and recalibrate ourselves. Little long answer, but I hope you got it.
धन्यवाद सर.
Thank you, sir. To carry it on with the program, I would like to invite Keertana to ask her next question.
सर क्या आपको लगता है कि मानव रहित उड़ानें, मिसाइलें आदि जैसी तकनीकी प्रगति भविष्य में भारतीय वायुसेना में क्रांति लाएगी? इसके साथ ही हम भविष्य में क्या उम्मीद कर सकते हैं?
Sorry, you will have to repeat your answer. Some mics are on. You're echoing. I didn't get the first part of your question. Would you mind repeating it? आप दोबारा से बोलेंगे please. शुरू वाला.
Sir, am I audible now?
Yeah. You were audible, but there was a lot of other echo. Okay. Yes, please go ahead.
सर क्या आपको लगता है कि मानव रहित उड़ानें, मिसाइलें आदि जैसी तकनीकी प्रगति भविष्य में भारतीय वायुसेना में क्रांति लाएगी? इसके साथ ही हम भविष्य में क्या और उम्मीद कर सकते हैं?
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't get that word manav rahat very clearly earlier. Okay, it's very important. Okay, what happens is ये जो unmanned aerial vehicles आप मानव रहित की बात कर रही हैं आप, इसमें ये क्यों क्रांति लाएंगे या ये क्यों एक डिफरेंट है? देखिए, हमेशा से कोई डिसीजन लेने के लिए, जैसे अभी हमने बात की कि मैं क्या करता हूँ, एक किस्म का डिसीजन लेता हूँ, उसमें जो लॉस ऑफ लाइफ है एक मेजर फैक्टर रहता है. ओके, लॉस ऑफ लाइफ. जब हम एयरक्राफ्ट बनाते हैं, एयरक्राफ्ट की जो कीमत है, आपको मैं ये बताना चाहूंगा कि जितनी उसकी कैपेबिलिटी, उसको कैपेबिलिटी देने के लिए लागत आती है या खर्चा आता है, उतना ही लगभग, अगर उतना नहीं तो उससे बहुत कम भी नहीं, उसको बचाने में आता है कि उसमें क्या सिस्टम हम लगाते हैं जिससे उसको सेफ रखा जाए. ओके, उसमें मिसाइल वार्निंग रिसीवर्स होते हैं, उसमें इलेक्ट्रॉनिक, हिंदी अनुवाद नहीं कर पाऊंगा इसका, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक काउंटर मेजर्स लगते हैं, जैसे शैप्स होगा, फ्लेयर होगा, और सब चीजें, रडार वार्निंग रिसीवर होंगे, ओके, वगैरह 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 वगैरह, सब कुछ उसमें लगता है, क्योंकि उसमें ह्यूमन बीइंग जा रहा है और हमारा प्रयास रहता है कि ह्यूमन लॉस नहीं हो. उससे वो जो वायुयान है बहुत ज्यादा एक्सपेंसिव होता है. अब इसमें क्या हुआ है, जो अनमैन्ड एरियल व्हीकल्स या यूएवी मानव है जिसको आप बोलती हैं, इसमें ये थोड़ी लिबर्टी ली जा सकती है क्योंकि लॉस ऑफ लाइफ का उतना डर नहीं है. तो ये जो काम है ज्यादा नंबर में बनाए जा सकते हैं. अभी देखिए, जो काम आपको एक यूएवी उड़ता है, वो एनिमी एरिया के अंदर जाके देखता है कि यहाँ पे क्या है और वेपन को गाइड कर सकता है. ओके, तो जो आपका बेसिक आर्टिलरी सिस्टम था या एक अनगाइडेड मिसाइल सिस्टम था, वो एक तरह से स्नाइपर राइफल की तरह हो गया है कि एक आप नॉर्मल बंदूक को या एक नॉर्मल जो आता है, जो बिल्कुल बेसिक बंदूक है, अगर उसको कोई चीज स्नाइपर राइफल की कैपेबिलिटी दे देती है, एक छोटी सी, आप आप कॉस्ट का डिफरेंस समझें कि एक नॉर्मल गन में और एक स्नाइपर राइफल में बहुत ज्यादा डिफरेंस होगा। अब उसमें अगर एक छोटी सी चीज इंट्रोड्यूस करके ये वो कैपेबिलिटी बना देती है तो वो एक किस्म की क्रांति है। तो इसमें क्या है कि इसमें अब एडवांसमेंट्स जो है ये जो उनकी इजाद है बहुत पहले हुई। आपको ये इंटरेस्टिंग लगेगा कि 1935 में जो रॉयल एयर फोर्स ने टारगेट सिस्टम बनाने शुरू किए थे। जब यूएवी की इजाद की हम अगर बात करें, अगर बैलून्स वगैरह को छोड़ दें और जैसे मैंने बोला एयरक्राफ्ट की बात करें, तो उनको अपने गनर्स को प्रैक्टिस देनी थी एक एयरक्राफ्ट को शूट डाउन करने के लिए कि उनसे एयरक्राफ्ट शूट डाउन नहीं होते थे। तो उन्होंने बोला कि एक टारगेट सिस्टम बनाया जाए। तो उन्होंने एक टाइगर बॉक्स ट्रेनर होता था, उसको कन्वर्ट किया एक ड्रोन बनाने में, और ड्रोन बाद में आया नाम, उसका नाम उन्होंने रखा क्वीन बी। क्वीन बी से नाम प्रचलित हुआ ड्रोन। ड्रोन इज ए मेल क्वीन बी। ओके, तो वो इस तरह से उसको क्वीन बी लंबा नाम होता था, उसको शॉर्ट करने में वो ड्रोन ड्रोन करते हुए ड्रोन फेमस हुआ। ओके, तो उनको तब लगा कि इट वाज वेरी डिफिकल्ट, बहुत मुश्किल था इस टारगेट को शूट करना। तो तब से उनको आइडिया आया कि अगर इतना मुश्किल है इस टारगेट को शूट करना, तो इसको फिर एक वेपन की तरह क्यों नहीं यूज किया जाए। तो तब से उन्होंने धीरे धीरे ये जो प्रथा चली अनमैन्ड एरियल व्हीकल की। और फिर 9/11 हुआ। 9/11 के बाद जो ये प्रीडेटर्स और ग्लोबल हॉक और ये वो यूएसए ने बहुत ज्यादा पुश किया इसको, क्योंकि उनको वहां से बैठे बैठे देखना था इराक में क्या हो रहा है, अफगानिस्तान में क्या हो रहा है, और टारगेटेड किलिंग, जैसे उनको लीडरशिप को टेक आउट करना था विदाउट कोलेटरल डैमेज। क्या होता है नॉर्मल एयरक्राफ्ट में आप अगर बम्बार्डमेंट करेंगे तो कोलेटरल डैमेज बहुत होता है। तो तब ये हेल्प फायर मिसाइल वगैरह यूज करनी शुरू की उन्होंने प्रीडेटर्स में। और ये कासिम सुलेमानी आपने पढ़ा होगा लास्ट ईरान में जो उन्होंने इराक में टारगेट किया लीडरशिप को। तो वैसे करते करते ये एक किस्म की क्रांति है। बट हम अपने कॉन्टेक्स्ट में देखें, हमारे कॉन्टेक्स्ट में अगर अपने सब कॉन्टिनेंट में वारफेयर की बात करें, तो इनका बहुत महत्वपूर्ण योगदान होने वाला है, क्योंकि ये रियल टाइम इंफॉर्मेशन आपको देख सकते हैं कि क्या हो रहा है। अगेन आपने ये एक किस्म से उसका काम करते हैं जो महाभारत में संजय करता था, वो रियल टाइम बताता था धृतराष्ट्र को कि बैटलफील्ड में क्या हो रहा है। एक किस्म की अगर आप अपनी माइथोलॉजी देखें तो बहुत सी ऐसी चीजें जो आज निकल के आ रही हैं जो जिनका मेंशन है हमारी माइथोलॉजी में भी कि ऐसा कुछ होता था। तो अगर उससे इक्वेट किया जाए तो एक किस्म से अगर मैं यहाँ बैठा वॉर प्लान कर रहा हूँ और मेरे को कोई चीज एग्जैक्टली बताती है कि एनिमी की डिस्पोजिशन क्या है, कहाँ पे क्या पड़ा हुआ है, तो इससे अच्छी बात क्या हो सकती है। पर ये वल्नरेबल रहते हैं, छोटे होते हैं, क्वाडकॉप्टर्स अगर छोटे छोटे हैं, सब जगह पे यूज होते हैं, तो इनमें क्रांति तो आएगी। अब ज्यादा टेक्निकल नहीं जाना चाहूंगा, क्योंकि अब आप ये सोचिए कि जब इनका नंबर भी बढ़ जाएगा तो वो अपने आप में एक चैलेंज होगा कि इनको फिर कंट्रोल कैसे करें। एक जगह में अगर आप हजारों में ये छोटे छोटे क्वाडकॉप्टर उड़ना शुरू हो जाएंगे, और फिर एयरक्राफ्ट भी जाने हैं बीच में, हमारी मिसाइल्स भी जानी है, ये भी जाना है, वो भी जाना है, वो एक किस्म का फ्यूचर चैलेंज है जो हमको देखना पड़ेगा। तो दोनों तरफ से एक किस्म से इनके साथ काफी बदलाव होने वाला है हमारी वॉर फाइटिंग थॉट प्रोसेस में कि इनको कैसे यूज किया जाए। और आपने अच्छा क्वेश्चन इसलिए पूछा है कि अगर इसको हम सोच समझ के फैक्टर इन करते हैं तो एक किस्म से अच्छा रहता है कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ ऑपरेशंस के लिए। अगर ऐसे एडहॉक ही लॉन्च कर देंगे कि एक एसेट है चलो कुछ करता है तो इसको देख लीजिए, तो उसका ऑप्टिमम फायदा हमें नहीं होगा। Thank you.
Thank you, sir. With this informative answer now, I would like to invite NIRMITA to ask her question.
So how would technologies like artificial intelligence help the Indian Air Force to improve its performance? Could you please elaborate on this?
Okay, yeah, we talked a little bit about artificial intelligence when I was explaining the decision loop, okay, that it will help you to reduce the decision loop. Now let's understand what is artificial intelligence, okay. Mostly what we call artificial intelligence is not really artificial intelligence, it is data analysis. Means you feed in so much of data and it analyzes the data quickly and gives you the most viable options. And since it tells me something very quickly, I think it's an intelligent machine. Okay. simply speak, an intelligent human mind is intelligent. And why do we say he's intelligent? Because it has the ability to deceive. You can tell lie. Okay, in simple terms, a human being can tell a lie. Okay, it can deceive others. So artificial intelligence probably has not yet reached that an extent where it can deceive and tell a lie. It essentially tells you the truth, but in a very quick manner. So it is mostly, I mean, there are very advanced applications of artificial intelligence. I am not a master on that. From whatever little I know, I understand that mostly what we refer to artificial intelligence is a very fast and very high level data analysis to give me right kind of options. Okay. Simple example of artificial intelligence is what? Artificial intelligence will be when it tells you options without data or okay, let me just explain it, you know, to very basic, in a basic manner, in an anecdotal form. Okay. If you ask a computer who's not intelligent that I have a option between two watches, one is permanently stopped and one loses 1 second in a day, which one should I buy? The computer will tell you essentially from the data it has. He says, buy the one which is permanently stopped because it will give you correct time twice a day. The other one will give you correct time maybe once in 362 years, because that is how it calculates that it is never correct. If it's losing, you know, 1 second in a day, then by the time by the your common denominator applying that, it comes to figure getting to the correct time, it will be so many years past. But if you were a human being, which watch will you buy? You will obviously buy which loses 1 second a day because it's not a big deal. That is the difference between what we call just data analysis and being intelligent about it, right? So the role of artificial intelligence, when I explained, is going to be very much in Air Force, because, like I said, the decision making has to be very quick. You know, missiles are going to come at you with hypersonic speeds. You have read that we are already reaching into hypersonic speed, and what is meant by hypersonic speed is, in addition, in excess of Mach 5. Mach 5 meaning it's you know, 5 times the speed of sound. Speed of sound is about 340 meters per second. So imagine you say 1 second and it has traveled 1500 meters, you know, 1.5 kilometers. That is the kind of thing. Now, how much decision time will I get? Agreed, they will come from far away, but then it is simply reduced my decision taking time. So if I have some tools, which let's call it artificial intelligence, to help me in analyzing my variables very quickly, giving me options. But mind you, you will never be able to take away the human being out of the equation, because after all, computer is going to be black and white. It cannot sense. It cannot sense so many things what a human being can sense. What human mind, based on certain inputs or certain gut feeling or certain baggage or certain experience, baggage is a wrong word, means experience, based on his experience, what it can decide. So it provides you input. So it needs to be taken as an input. It is not to give away your responsibility to computer. Then, you know, Air Force can do away with people like me. They say, okay, you sit at home, then I'll fight you with computers. Computer is an aid, or artificial intelligence is going to be an aid, which is going to give you solutions, but it depends on you. Which solution do you take? So it is never going to be a scenario just on the lighter side. Tomorrow, if I do something funny, lose a war, I cannot blame it on the computer because computer asked me to do so. So that is why I did it. The onus will lie on the human being. So human being in the interface will remain the most important part. Artificial intelligence will help him to become a better and more intelligent human being. But ultimately, it is a human being who will fight the war, right? Thank you.
आप देख रहे हैं पायस टॉक और आज हमारे साथ हैं विशेष मेहमान बेदी जी। आइए अब आमंत्रित करते हैं अपने अगले सवाल के साथ आरुष को।
Sir, having an incredible career spanning over 37 glorious years in the Indian Air Force with over 3,700 flying hours and experience of missions like Operation Vijay and Operation Safed Sagar. You may have had dealt with many adverse situations and critical decision making stages in your career. Would you like to share with us any such episodes of decision making and how you handled it?
Thank you very much. You know what happened is flying, like we do. I just explained that how quick decision making helps in our flying career. Many a time you do come across situations where you have to decide quickly. But let me tell you one very important thing. You know, most of people, earlier we were talking of misconceptions. Okay, let me link it up with that. Another misconception probably is that the pilots or the fighter pilots have a very quick decision-taking capability. Like, you know, that I can decide at on spur of the moment. But let me ask you a simple question. How do I take decisions on something that I don't know? Means you may be as intelligent as you are, but unless someone has told you that 2 plus 2 is 4, you will never come to know 2 plus 2 is 4. Okay, again, just being anecdotal, most of you would have watched that Sanjay Dutt movie, Munna Bhai, the second part, in which there is Mahatma Gandhi. Most of you watched? Okay, I suppose so. Now, what do you learn in that? In that, it comes out clearly that, you know, in that theatrical side, that Gandhiji can answer only those questions to him about which he has read. If he is not read about it, even Gandhiji doesn't tell him. His mother's name also he can't tell him because he's not read about it. Exactly the same way, when I'm able to take quick decisions sitting in the aircraft, a lot of training is behind it. If I have not paid attention during my training, then it is not possible to take quick decisions. Decisions are not new. Decision is only recalling your capability or recalling the memory or recalling something that you have learned in quick time. How quickly you can recall it depends how continuously or how regularly you have been revising it in your mind, consciously or subconsciously. So if you've not paid attention somewhere, just because I wear uniform, just because I can take up an aircraft, is not possible that every time I will reach a correct decision. It is a very much part of the training which has been given to me, and my continuously being updated on that training, that when an opportunity presents itself, you are able to take a quick decision. In my flying career, many a times we have encountered what we call emergencies in the aircraft. Okay, sometimes you have oil pressure giving away, you have some hydraulic failures, you have some undercarriage not coming down, etc., etc. Now, at that moment, you have to take quick decision, but you are not inventing decisions. It is not something a new something which is thrown at you that okay, decide quickly, and I am able to decide quickly. No, I can only decide the things which I know. I have to have knowledge of the system. I have to know how the system works. And I need to have thought of those situations in my mind, rehearsing what can go wrong, anticipating what can go wrong, and not really, just coming at a decision out of the blue. It's not magic. You know, it is not magic. If I draw your attention to that, what quickness are we talking about? You know, I was fortunate to have been doing low level aerobatics on Mirage 2000. Okay. You understand low level aerobatics? You may have seen these people doing close to the ground, those aerobatic maneuvers. Okay. Mirage 2000 average speed, what it does aerobatics is 900 kilometers an hour. When you translate it into per second, it translates into 250 meters per second. Okay. Now that is the speed you are flying at. When I am going to recover, imagine yourself when I'm going in for a loop and I'm facing vertically down. Okay. I have to recover at 150 meters. Okay, that is coming down and recovering at 150 meters. So if you talk of 150 meters from ground and the aircraft which is flying 250 meters per second, you are less than a second away from the ground. So that is the demarcation in decision making. That means from the time I initiate my recovery, if I was 1 second, less than a 1 second late, then that is the end of it. That is the kind of decision making. But Having said that, that 1 second is a hell of a lot. Is a hell of a lot because you're trained for it. From the very beginning, it's not that I come to that point and think that, okay, now I have to do. I am thinking of it all through my maneuver. That, okay, what am I going to do? I'm always ahead of the aircraft. So even 1 second is more than enough because I am not following the aircraft, I am ahead of the aircraft. When you are ahead of the aircraft, you can anticipate danger. You can anticipate the things which are coming to you. If you are going to, this is so in a day-to-day flying, there are many places where aircraft systems come into play. Then there are normal organizational decision making, which there are challenges because you're dealing with human beings. When you're commanding a squadron, you're commanding about 500 people. You command a station, you're commanding about 2,000 people. They have their families with them. There are normal day-to-day challenges. You have to take decisions on those aspects. And then in wartime, and during Kargil operations like Operation Safed Sagar, what Air Force called it, there were many occasions I flew 25 missions, live missions in that, and this medal, Vayu Sena medal, which you read, it's a Vayu Sena medal gallantry, which was conferred on me for Kargil operations. Okay, so in those 25 missions, there were many occasions, where you had to decide quickly, though there was not much of an air opposition from the other side, but even your own side, or you always had to be ready. So explaining that would get into too much of technicality and maybe to a bit of confidentiality, but I think it would suffice to say that there are many times that you have faced challenges. Sometimes, it may surprise you that facing a challenge in aircraft is much easier than facing a challenge off ground, because for handling aircraft challenges, you are consciously trained for it. But when the challenges are thrown at you in day-to-day life, they become more important for you to run an Air Force efficiently, because after all, like we said, we are talking of human beings. It is the human beings which make the Air Force, and if the human beings in Air Force are not satisfied, are not happy, are not contented, then your overall efficiency is going to reduce, which is the job of people in my positions, or the contemporary positions, who have to look after this. So those remain much bigger challenges in life. Thank you.
धन्यवाद सर। संवाद एक ऐसा माध्यम है जिससे हम समाज की हर जटिल समस्या का समाधान निकाल सकते हैं, और इसी कारण इस स्पाइस टॉक की शुरुआत की गई है। और आज की इस चर्चा के अंतिम सवाल हेतु आमंत्रित है कीर्तना।
Despite its risks, there are many brave ones who aspire to join the Indian Air Force. So, what advice would you like to give to them?
Oh, yes. Thank you very much. Anybody who's planning to join Air Force, let's say, any career, I would say, but more so Air Force, since we are talking of Air Force. Air Force is a way of life. There are many opportunities in the Air Force. Okay, let's talk of you get enough exposure, you get an excellent career at a very early stage in life. Your life becomes kind of settled. Okay, you get exposure to technology, you get a good family life, you have the whole Air Force is like a family. But amongst all this, what I would like the young people to think or to train their mind is discipline. To say you need to be disciplined is a cliche. Yes, any force works with discipline, but to remain disciplined when not under watch is the biggest virtue, I think, what can inculcate. That self-discipline, when I'm up in the air all by myself, okay, at 20,000 feet flying in my aircraft, no one is watching me. What I do in the aircraft, what I do is purely on me. Self-discipline becomes very important. It just puts people apart from each other. There are people who can inculcate self-discipline. There are people who stop at red light, middle of the night, without anybody watching, without any traffic from left, right. And there are some people who are tempted to cross it. You find every kind of people. It needs grit. It needs total control. It needs good value systems. to stop at a red light in the middle of the night without any traffic crossing or without anybody watching you. Okay, this is just an example. Okay, and secondly, your ability to prepare for something or your ability to do something right. What is professionalism? I would say that if you want to join Air Force, you need to be a good professional. What is the definition of good professional? Professional is he, in my opinion, who does thing the right way. There is a particular way to do a thing, and you have to make an effort to do the thing the right way. Mistakes can happen. Mistakes do happen. Okay, to err is human, we say. But when you say to err is human, it does not legitimize a mistake. It does not give you a right to continue making mistakes or not to pay attention to doing something right. Okay, so you have to have the ability that whatever you start or whatever you do, be it your studies, be it your preparation, be it your anything, any object, that you start with full sincerity. You give your 100% into what you are wanting to do, and then on the way do your best. So my advice to people who want to do well, not only join, mind you, joining something and doing well in that organization are two different things. Okay, everybody can get an opportunity to join, to get in by one time effort, but it's easier to, they say, achieve success or achieve something, but very difficult to maintain it. Maintaining that position is very, very difficult. So unless you have those values, unless you have those value systems embedded in you, that you are self-disciplined and you are professional. So if you just pay attention to these two things from today, when you go, promise yourself that you will give your 100% to whatever you do. You will not take shortcuts. You will not take, any what you call the wrong way of doing things. You understand the difference between shortcut and improvisation. Unfortunately, what happens is in our Indian system, we missed the Industrial Revolution. You all know. By virtue of which we had to do some jugaad. You all have heard this word jugaad. Okay, at one time it became very famous. Now, improvisation is that when something is not available, you improvise. That means you have to do something, but the right kind of thing is not available to me. So with my intellect, with my knowledge, with my something, I improvise something and I do something good. Shortcut is what? That when things are available, you still take shortcut. Shortcut is for convenience. Improvisation is for good, or for for making things happen. Shortcut is just convenience. That means I am on the road. I have to just go 200 meters on the opposite side to take a U-cut, but I decide to go the opposite side because I find it too inconvenient to travel the other way a little bit. So I take shortcut. That is not improvisation. Okay, that is shortcut. So invariably what happens is shortcuts do not pay. Okay, improvisations pay. So do not confuse between improvisation and shortcut. In your life, do improvise, but do not take shortcuts. Be self-disciplined, do things the right way, and I'm sure Air Force is the career for you, and Air Force will be happy to have such bright young kids in the future as part of their its service.
धन्यवाद सर। पाइल स्टॉप यानी युवाओं को जिम्मेदारियों से परिचित कर उनके कंधों पर भावी समाज की जिम्मेदारियों का भार संभालने की शक्ति देना, और आज भी कुछ ऐसा ही हुआ।
हमारे विद्यार्थी साथियों ने भारतीय वायुसेना की चुनौतियां और संभावनाएं विषय पर हमारे विशेष मेहमान एयर मार्शल श्री गुरचरण सिंह बेदी जी से खुलकर अपने विचारों को प्रश्न के रूप में प्रस्तुत किया, और उस प्रत्येक प्रश्न का उन्हें उचित मार्गदर्शन प्राप्त हुआ।
अब हम आदरणीय श्री गुरचरण सिंह बेदी सर से अनुरोध करते हैं कि आप आज के इस चर्चात्मक कार्यक्रम पर अपना अनुभव रखते हुए हम सभी का मार्गदर्शन करें।
Thank you very much. I think whatever I had to say, ample has been said during our conversation, and I'm very happy to face these questions. They were very intelligent and very well thought. So my first purpose is served. When I said that put your heart and soul into it, the first thing that I can see that you guys have prepared so well for this conversation. Frankly speaking, I wasn't expecting it to be such a wonderful and interesting session. Okay. But your knowledge level, that means you really made an effort to go through things, to prepare the questions, you applied your mind, which gave me an opportunity to express myself so freely and so, if I may say, in a fair manner. My experience has been already put in front of you, and I am hoping in the future that when I'm in some Air Force gathering, some of you will walk up to me and tell me, "Okay, sir, I was attending that pious talk on that day when you were speaking, and I'll be very happy to see one of those. I'll be very happy to witness that day in my life, and I really feel that this purpose of this talk has been served." My parting advice, or the last advice to you would be that choose your profession, choose your career very, very carefully, because when hobby becomes profession, it becomes different. You may like to click photographs, but if photography becomes your profession, then it does not remain the same, because now what happens is you have to produce results. When it's a hobby, you are not hard pressed to produce results. Similarly, flying in an aircraft, or flying for a joyride, or flying, sitting in the passenger seat of an aircraft of a civil airline, or taking a joyride in a glider or some aircraft is very different. But when it becomes profession, it is going to demand hard work. It is not natural. Human beings are not made to fly. You have to learn it. But once you learn it, once you start enjoying it, then you will not want to leave it. But you have to cross that threshold. Okay, many of us sometimes are not able to cross that threshold. You have to prepare yourself in whatever you do. Mind you, I'm not only talking of Air Force. Since I'm talking to students, I'm saying whatever profession you choose, somewhere down the line, there will come a stage where you will feel that probably this was not for you. Okay, that is only the result of fickle-mindedness. You have to remind yourself that when there was no pressure on you, that is what you chose. Probably you liked it. Now you have to give it a full chance. You have to give a chance to this profession to succeed. And no profession is going to be seamless. It only happens in movies that you join a profession and only success comes. By probability, success is limited. You have to try more number of times, or you have to try again, or you have to give it a chance. And in total number of attempts, you will find the success is limited. So same is true in every profession. I am at pains at times to see that some people join a profession with their own choice, with their own free will, but do not give it enough chance to fructify, or do not give it enough chance, because it is difficult. It is difficult to cross that threshold, and it is difficult to master that profession, because it is no more a hobby now, it has become a profession. So my advice to you would be, whatever you choose, firstly, choose carefully. And secondly, having chosen that, then give it its full due, its full chance. Even if you feel at time that, oh, you probably chose the wrong thing, because everything that you choose, mind you, is going to show you the same milestone somewhere, where you will feel that, oh, it's not so easy. And you will keep losing chances, and ultimately it will be frustrating. So whatever you do, take good care of your thought process, choose well, and then give it a chance. Thank you very much. It will help you in all walks of life. And I wish you all the best. It's extremely wonderful session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your experience with us. As we come to the end of the 5th episode of PI's Talk, I would like to invite our respected Vice Principal, Mrs. Padmaja Menon ma'am, to share a few words.
Thank you, AMOGH. Good evening, everyone present here. Sir, my humble pranams to you. Touch the sky with glory, the slogan of Air Force, taken from the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Sir, you touched the hearts of these children. Definitely your objective, what you said about shaping the future,
sir, that has started. I'm very sure when I was listening through this entire talk show. So, as you children, as you all know, our ruler always insists that you should know your past. I'll just give you some insight into that. Our country has a very good lineage, Vaimanika Shastra done by our Maharishis Bharatwaj is one of the very old scriptures, or I can say a book in which you can find the details of all sorts of aeroplanes. And one of the doctor, Dr. Kota Harinarayanan, that Tejas LCA light combatant aircraft pioneer, he says the technology was not fully translated. That was one of the weakness. We didn't have the people to translate it or to transform the ideas into action. Now, with these type of professionals with us, we know that definitely India will grow, and definitely you have entrusted your thoughts into the minds of this future minds. I'm sure as our role, we will definitely nurture the children, and definitely we will give them the opportunity to come out of their comfort zone and think ahead. That is the safety zone and comfort zone, which prevents them from going to defense services. I think that is the main reason for many of the parents don't have that fear, that they always fear. As you very correctly said, we will try to develop that spirit in our children. I assure you, sir. And the two things what you said really touched me. The one is no runners up in war. Children, you all should understand the real meaning of it. In competition, we have the runners up, but in war, we don't have the runners up. It is do or die. Similarly, you said the courage. Courage is something which every child should develop. Therefore, we can have more such children we can look forward for children coming into defense. And I assure you that definitely at Bhavans, we will take care of that. And this talk definitely have ignited their thirst, definitely will ignite. And we can see many future people in, as you said, very clearly you said that you would like to see them for your Air Force, when you go for your Air Force meetings. I assure you definitely youth. If not these children, you will have Bhavanites from here. Thank you, sir. Thank you, children. And the talk show was wonderful, and it really helped me to understand many things. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
हम आज के इस बुद्धिपरक चर्चात्मक कार्यक्रम पायस टॉक के इस 5वें संस्करण के अंतिम पड़ाव पर हैं। आज का यह कार्यक्रम आप सभी को कैसा लगा, इसकी जानकारी कमेंट के माध्यम से आप सभी जरूर दीजिएगा।
आज इस कार्यक्रम में काफी व्यस्त रहते हुए भी श्री गुरुचरण सिंह बेदी जी हमारे बीच उपस्थित
providing us with this platform to express ourselves, even as we interact with experts in the field. We also thank our school principal, Mr. Suresh Balakrishnan, vice principals and assistant vice principals for always being very supportive. We extend our gratitude to the members of the admin staff and
अपना ख्याल रखें, स्वस्थ रहे, व्यस्त रहे। धन्यवाद।